The law of the I Am is perfect, converting the soul. The commandment of the I Am is pure, enlightening the eyes. The fear of the I Am is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of the I Am are true and righteous altogether. More to be desired are they than gold, yea, than much fine gold. Sweeter also than honey and the honeycomb. Psalms chapter 19, verses 7 through 11. Moreover, by them thy servant is warned, in keeping them is great reward. Remember that. Yes. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the way of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the I Am, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. Psalms chapter 1, verses 1 through 3. Yes, all praises to the Most High. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then shalt thou have good success. Oshay chapter 1, verses 8. Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You're in the law with Mr. Clay. I'm Mr. Clay, and we're in the law. Yes, the law that everybody shuns, everybody pushes aside. They only cleave to that you should live holy, but what do I do to live holy? They say you should love, but what is meant by love your neighbor? What is meant by all these things according to the Most High? The law, statutes, commandments, and ordinances of the Most High. You should love the Lord thy God with all thy might, soul, and thy neighbor as thyself. What is meant by this? The law. You cannot love your neighbor. You cannot love God with all that you can if you do not know the law to execute it according to as God has shown your ancestors or those before you. Yes, you cannot do this. God is not mocked. Whatsoever you sow, you're going to reap, regardless. Doesn't matter. But nevertheless, we're in the book of Leviticus. Leviticus, the law is very absolute. That's why many can't stand it. When you live this law, there is no, the law, you don't get demon possessed obeying the law. You do not need any healing obeying the law. Because you're doing the thing which God has said. You're putting God up to His word, His promise if you keep the law. You don't have to worry about a job or a business if you're keeping the law. Understand what I'm saying. Your enemies will not defeat you, nor run over you if you're keeping the law. Because there is a promise to those that keep the law. You will have good success in whatever you endeavor to do within the law. This is what God is saying, and we miss it. This is why the reason why many of you are sickly and poor, and all manner of evil have beset you. And you've indulged yourself and don't know the evil that you're doing because you have been bamboozled and lied to by not only your pastors and imams and all these other people, but the fact is you need to know the law. Why are so many people taken with the lie of the Old Testament and even the ambiguity of the Quran when the law is right there? Every angel they talk about is right there in the law and the historical account of the Most High that He's given unto Moses. Yes, Moses was the one who dictated. God gave him the memory of the book of Genesis. Yes, the book of Genesis, the book that accounts for Exodus up to the 19th chapter. Jubilees. Yes, God gave him this. and also Jasher, and also, should I say, the book of Enoch. All these things were lost until the children of Israel were taken out of the land of Egypt. So we're in Leviticus chapter 19. I believe I stopped. This is what I wrote down. I stopped there. I've been reading all this time. Chapter 19, and we're at verse 31 is where we stopped, I believe. He starts in verse 30. He says, "You shall keep my Sabbaths, my rest, the rest of your land, the rest that comes with the feast days, the rest. Keep my Sabbaths," he's saying. Keep my rest. It's for a reason. I am that I am. See, they put Lord there. Sometimes you have to ignore what they put there because you know better. You can say Yahuwah if you want to. As long as you don't blaspheme and say Yahusha, and blaspheme and say Yahweh, and blaspheme and say Yeshua, or blaspheme and say Jesus, that's blasphemy. Because you put a man, you praise a man in a created being in the stead of the Most High. See, in that narrative, even this Messiah they wrote of, this man, he hasn't done no more than the people in the Old Testament. No more than Esther, to tell you the truth. And she did not even do miracles. All she did was fast and pray. It was the Most High that touched the heart of the king of Persia. Yes, it was God that given him a love for her like no other love. Yes, it is God. Now he says, he goes on and says, "Regard not them that have familiar spirits." Spirits, what would the English classify as familiar spirits? The word familiar itself could tell you. They're familiar with the life, or they're familiar with a certain thing. They're familiar. Neither seek after wizards. Your heady power types that use spells, and not only are wizards, they try to push this toward Africa, Haiti, and all the rest of them, but you have just as many wicked wizards in Europe and United States, North and South America. You have just as many witch doctors in these countries which call themselves civilized. They're just as uncivilized as the ones that they accuse, if not more. These things happen. They're here. You have the Caucasian man said you're uncivilized, you're wicked, you're a savage. Yet they use the Ouija boards, they use tarot cards, they use all manner of evil against each other and against those that they want to come against. And they try to learn the ways of other nations in order that they might cast spells, and they have cast a spell. Even that New Testament and that Quran was the biggest spell. They've cast it on all of you. He says neither seek after the wizards to be defiled by them. I am your God. Thou shalt rise up before the hoary head, the gray head. Rise up, stand up, and honor the face of the old man. I don't care how drunk and sadly he is. You honor his face because he's lived longer than you. For some reason, God had granted him that honor. Whether to change his ways or what, you give him respect, period. Doesn't matter. Yeah, they get on your nerves, some of them, but you do not dishonor them. And fear thy God who have made them to live such a long time, of ways that you have not even seen yet. For I am that I am. You have no judgment upon the old and the hoary head, but to honor them. Don't try to figure them out. And if a stranger or sojourner with thee in your land, ye shall not vex them. Yeah, we went through this before. We're going through it again. Why are you going to trouble somebody that walks through your hood that means you no harm? Judah. Yeah, you the one they call black man. Yeah, You want to kill, steal, and destroy just like your enemy. living with your mama, which is on government assistance? Why you want to trouble another man that's trying to get to work, or a kid trying to get to school, high school, but he has to put up gang signs or whatever, or he has to walk softly and hope he's not seen running through your territory, which you don't own? How stupid can you be? But the stranger that dwelleth with you, you shall be as unto you one born among you. He's talking to the entire Israel, the Israelite. One born among you in the land. Yes, this is why we pray God he restores the Israelite back to his land. Thou shalt love him as thyself. He ain't talking about every heathen and every murderer and every thief and rapist there is. He's talking about that neighbor that's next door to you. That neighbor that is keeping the commandments, statutes, ordinance, and commandments of the Most High. Because if he's in the land of Israel, he's going to do it, or else he's going to be cast out or deleted. For ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. I am your God. You shall do no unrighteousness in judgment, and meat yard in weight or in measure. In other words, do that which is right. Don't judge because of the color of their skin, not as you are done by, as they are doing to you, because they hate you. Don't judge that, or the complexion of their skin, or the texture of their hair. No. If they're keeping commandments, statutes, and ordinances of the Most High, they're the same as you. A strong delusion in two major religions have come upon the earth, and that is Christianity and Islamic belief. Yes, they're all the same. They're really the same if you watch them. One mimics the other, where the woman wears a hijab, where you got the nuns wearing a hijab also. Just looks a little different, that's all. They carry beads. They worship an idol called a rock. The other one says he's going on a Hajj. They're still idolatrous, still idols. No, the law, statutes, commandments, and the ordinances of the Most High are that which is right before God. Now, 19 and 36. Just balances and just weights, a just ephah, just hin shall ye have. I am your God, which brought you out of the land of Egypt. In other words, your measurement shall be calibrated. You're not going to give nobody a pound of flour, charge them for a pound of flour when you only gave them 3/4 of a pound of flour, or 0.35 pound of flour, or 0.75 pound of flour. You're going to be just, he says. Make sure it's 1 pound, or whatever weight that is, according to just weights and balances. Therefore you should observe my statutes and all my judgments and do them. This is a statute, yet it's still law. Is it passed? Are you not angry when you go to the store and find out, as we have often saw, that they might have a scale there, but that scale is off balance? Or you buy the meat out of the, should I say, meat cooler, and it says you have 1 pound 16 ounces, but you turn around and you scale it and you find out it's only 3/4 of a pound. It just looked bulky because it's full of water. This is what God is talking about, just weights and balances. Yes, these people shall be judged. Now therefore you shall observe my statutes. Let's go to chapter 20. And the I am spake unto Moses, saying, again thou shalt say unto the children of Israel. This was before they even went into the land of Israel. God was establishing the laws. There was no cars or buses or trains. God has to cause them to be a posted limit upon them to be safe. No. They were what we would call not developed yet. But is this really development, or is it just a fast way to the grave? Whosoever he that be of the children of Israel, or the stranger that sojourn in Israel, and giveth any of his seed unto Moloch, Now, this is the one who loves to put your children in the fire and have you see as many people firewalk. Not only people in developing nations, but also here in the United States. You have those here in the United States that firewalk. Yes, they do. And he shall surely be put to death. He's telling you, in your land, they have laws. They allow anything. These lands, they would call God's way a religious, or should I say, a dictatorship, because religion is dictated. So this is what they would say. They would put a label on God's way, on Israel. And now here they have took the books that God has said, and they put them, and they created a book called the New Testament, and then the Quran, to do it their way. There's a way that seems right unto a man. Yes, it is. But the end thereof is a way to exile, execution, even death, separation. They even changed the meaning of death. Whew, what a day. He said, he shall surely be put to death, and the people of the land shall stone him with stones. Yes, the one who causes his children to walk through this fire for this devil, this Satan. And I will set my face. Oh yeah, you have to realize one thing. When they translated the word Satan, when Satan stood up against one of the kings of Israel, it wasn't Satan, it was a fallen spirit. He had a name. All spirits have names, but they rather call them a Satan. Yes, they're a Satan. There are many Satans. You can't cast out. How you gonna cast out a Satan here and then cast out a Satan over there? See, many of you don't get it. You've been lied to. They are created beings. They are only singular. They are not as the Most High. The Most High is a spirit, an omnipresent spirit. Yes, the Most High is. And you're trying to figure the Most High out. Even you don't even know you're being used of the evil spirits, trying to figure out and question the Most High and what the Most High does. But that's understandable, because you have that spirit that went against Eve, which is mentioned in the book of, I believe, Jasher or Jubilees. It wasn't just a serpent. That's Satan shapeshifted. This is why it's important that you go through these books, Enoch, the book of Jubilees, and the book of Jasher. You will find out when they talked about the spirits of old, they talked about spirits. These are the Satans they're talking about in the New Testament. He said, and I will set myself against that man and cut him off from among his people, because he had given his seed, his children, unto this devil, this Satan they called Molech, to defile my sanctuary and to profane my holy name. This is what you do. When you give God's holy name unto Jesus, Yahushua, Yahusha, you profane the name of the Most High, because the Most High is not created. When you give his name over to the rock and beads, and you say that God has a son, even those of you in Islam, see, this is the biggest lie ever told. This is the biggest lie ever told, and many of you still can't see it for looking. But nevertheless, that's why I say only a few. You go back into the time before this, even in the time of Isaiah, talking about, yeah, we seen him, you will be stoned, you will be put to death. Surely you would. Now he also goes on and says, and if the people of the land do any ways hide their eyes from the man which he giveth his seed unto this Satan, and kill him not. In other words, that's his seed. I ain't got nothing to do with it. Ain't none of my business. This is in the land of Israel. This is the law of the Most High. He didn't have no cops or no police. The people policed themselves. This was the freedom. You don't mind your other business, but you're minding the business of the Most High. You are mandated, is what he's saying. You ain't ready for God. You ain't ready. You Israelites are not ready for the Most High. Your mind is still colonized. Your mind is still on this Christian lottie-dottie stuff. You're not ready. Many of you will go to wars and have nightmares and need PSTD. You don't need that stuff. If you're doing what is right, why you need this PSD treatment? That carcass that lay there that you have deleted, it's nothing because it has violated God's laws. This is why they didn't have to have no psychological evaluations or nothing like that. No, because they believed on the I am their God. Yes. Now he says, now if the people of the land do anyways hide their eyes, in other words, it is your business. This man gives his seed unto this Satan. The same thing in this land. There's ways to go about. You see a man in witchcraft, don't have nothing to do with him. If he makes his children step on fires or teach them how to firewalk, report them to the authorities. They want to be God anyway. This is the reason for, this is why you're in certain countries, your enforcement officers and their laws try to make them gods. They want to be gods, but they want to use a certain people to be gods over. The poor and those that don't look like them. Now, and then I will set my face against that man and against his family, and I will cut him off and go all that go a whoring after him to commit whoredom with this Satan they call warlock from among their people. Now, I'm saying this right. This is a Satan. You have to be careful. These translators got it wrong. And the soul that turneth after such that have familiar spirits. Oh, the word itself is plain before you. Familiar. Familiar with your life. Familiar with the life of the deceased. Familiar with the life of those who have done things in the past. Familiar spirits. And after wizards who concoct. This is witches. This is a whole different thing. It's the same as witches. Your Harry Potter stuff, I guess. But either way. To go a whoring after them, to want your future told, to want spells cast on other folks. You call it what you will, but God knows what it is. Whoring. A whore is to go after that which is not yours. A whore is a strange woman, and a whoremonger is one who lusts after and desires strange women that he is not betrothed or married to. You go a whoring after them, he says. See, all of this, your life and what God's laws are put together. Don't be going talking to no other man and you a married woman, or man, you a married man. No, it's not your right. And I will even set my face against that soul and cut him off from among his people. Now, he says, set apart yourselves, therefore. You got to be separate. What is holy? Be ye holy. You set apart yourself from those who do not obey the statutes, commandments, and laws of the Most High. This is a law. And keep ye the statutes and do them. So yes, statutes is just different law. It's a law. Either way, you're talking English here. I am that I am, which set you apart, is what he's saying. He's telling this. You set apart from all the nations in the world. This is what you are. You're none of them. And the man that committed adultery with another man's wife, even he that committed adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall be surely put to death. The man that committed adultery with another man's wife, he stole something, or he's taken something that was not his to even receive. And it was not lawful to receive. Theft. And an adulterer the wife, the adulterer and adulteress, she give away something that she gave to another man that belonged to him. Woman, your body belongs to your future husband or your husband. I don't care how you look at it. Your body belongs to your future husband or your husband. Man, you have no business with another man's wife. I don't care how much he seduced you. Single man, married man, whatever. You have no business with another man's wife. You have dishonored that man, and she's also dishonored her husband and the marriage and even the Most High. This has a spiritual significance to it. He said, shall surely be put to death. What does he mean? He didn't say cast him into jail. He said, get him, delete him, take him out. And yet your Jesus blasphemes the Most High until he without sin cast the first stone. God didn't say nothing about that. He says, take this person out. He'll take care of your sin later. And it will be revealed that you might be taken out if it's worthy of death. This is where the blasphemy of that Christ, what is written about that Christ, is wrong. And you put him up as your Savior. Your Yahushua, your Yahusha. Yeah, you put him up as your Savior. He says, no, God ain't right. God's a liar. That's what he's saying. How can you put a stone on somebody and they ain't got that? No, that's human thinking. Think about it. God didn't tell you all of that. He didn't get into all these details. The absolute thing of it is he and her made themselves one when they were one with others. Stealing and receiving that which was stolen, giving away that wasn't theirs, blaspheming the very Most High that told them not to do it. Thou shalt not commit adultery. That is where they put each other on the back burner. Put him to death is what he says. And the man that lieth with his father's wife, he might have more than one wife, but you lie, as one of the children of Jacob did. They laid with another man, his concubine, and uncovered his father's nakedness. Both of them shall surely be put to death, and their blood shall be put on. He's telling you, Israel, when you come into your land, God bring you to the land, these people shall be put to death. But no, it's not your fault. This is what Satan's tells you. It's not your fault. The Satan's tell you in commercials. Satan's tell you in everything. It's not your fault, and you believe it. You believe the Flip Wilsons that says, yes, the devil made me do it. No. You were drawn of your own desire and tempted. You wanted her. You wanted him. Oh, let's get this right. Let's get it right. Now God has to judge every man according to his works, because Israel was too lazy and too scared to do these things, because it's none of my business in their land. Now you're out of your land and you can't do, you still won't do it. You won't separate yourself from them, whether it's your relative or whatever. You're still agreeing with everything that they do. And if a man lie with his daughter-in-law, both of them shall surely be put to death. They have wrought confusion, and their blood shall be upon their hand. If a man lieth with mankind as he lieth with womankind, he's talking about gays, homosexuals. This is what he's talking about. This is the label that we put on it. They didn't have that word back then. It is wickedness. And they shall be burnt with fire, just like a witch. That's all I'm going to say about that. But both he and they, that there be no wickedness among you. In other words, people may fear not to do these things, to pull themselves out of that fire by saying, I will not lay with another man. What you see in another man anyway? But either way, God be praised. If a man take a wife and her mother, No, you can't do that. It is wickedness. They shall be burnt with fire, both he and they. This woman had a baby. Now both of them together, and her mind is wicked, or either the child's mind is wicked. But there is a little peep that's going to come there that's going to be a mark of jealousy. You're not going to do that. This is the thing that the Egyptians did. These are the things that the Canaanites did in that time. Both they and they be no wickedness among you. Oh, this law is passed, is what you say. You's a liar. If a man lie with a beast, he shall surely be put to death, and ye shall slay the beast. Bestiality. Sheep, goats, dogs, whatever you do, it doesn't matter. There's no justification. Everything shall multiply after its kind and copulate with its kind. 16, and if a woman approach unto any beast, now he's covering the woman now, and lie down there too, and thou shalt kill the woman. Kill her and the beast, and they shall surely be put to death, and their blood shall be upon them. And we're going to stop at verse 16, Leviticus 20 and 16. Knowing that the law is very, very something that can slip our mind for the way of the world. The world is full of all of these things just mentioned. And some of them are so subtle, they come to your children in the form of cartoons and superheroes. And they can deceive your children to actually doing the thing that they do. They won't necessarily do as the superheroes, but because this thing is embedded in them, how can I do this thing like the superhero do? Casting spells. This is subliminal. As even the Satan did Eve in the garden. And then you love your family, you love your wife, you love your husband so much that you're fallen and taken. You love your neighbor more than you love the law and the Most High, who gives the law. And if we keep those things which the Most High has mandated us to keep, especially Israel, you are sanctified. You are supposed to be set apart in your heart. And he also tells you, you sanctify yourself. But if we sanctify ourselves to the law, to keep the law, we will have peace.